It's a breathtaking sight, an historic wall stretching as far as the eye can see. It spans almost 9,000 kilometers from the east to the west of China. Built over more than 2,000 years, construction first began around 220 BC and continued up until the Ming Dynasty, when the wall became known as the world's largest military structure. It was key to protecting agriculture and resisting the cavalry of the Huns and other warrior tribes from the north. Today, the Great Wall is recognized as one of the most impressive architectural feats in history and is known as the most common emblem of China for the Western world. But look closely and you will see that the wall is under attack again from visiting vandals.
These bricks here are 600 years old. And I think the bricks, because they are the smallest building blocks of this mega monument, they're very significant. So it's fingerprinted with the Great Wall's construction history. And for someone to come along here and whip out a magic marker or a knife and carve their name on is a terrible loss.
The Chinese government has adopted a "if you can't beat them, join them" type of approach. Here at Tower number 14, tourists have been given free rein to graffiti the walls in the hope that it will stop other areas being defaced. The Chinese tradition of writing messages on bricks, rocks and trees is almost as old as the wall itself. The technique was used by scholars in the Han Dynasty in 206 BC. But modern-day graffiti is relatively new, and China's first dedicated shop opened here in Beijing's hip 798 art district just 2 years ago.
Graffiti in China is very young. I'm start graffiti from 2005, and more graffiti on the street now. But it's very hard painting in China because the cans a little bit expensive.
And while Chinese authorities have been known to censor other forms of art, they've largely turned a blind eye to graffiti on the streets, as long as it's not on government buildings. Streetwise artists know to toe the line, and although some touch on sensitive issues like inflation and pollution, they avoid direct censure of the government. But for the most part, inspiration is drawn from American hip-hop culture. A local grapher will usually leave his tag, a shortened version of their name in English, like Andy is teaching me now. I've never used a spray can like this before.
Just to try, it's okay.
I feel so devious. So now I'm ready to write my name on the Great Wall of China. So I think the spray can is a bit overkill. I probably would have been better with a felt tip pen, but here goes. Well, I've certainly left my mark, but what do other tourists think of this dedicated graffiti zone?
I think it's fantastic.
Why?
Because it's beautiful to leave your mark on someplace special that you can maybe even take down and put somewhere in a museum or something, but never to desecrate the wall.
This is a way to let everybody communicate with each other. Both foreign and domestic tourists can write on these walls and they can speak with each other.
William Lindsay was the first foreigner to walk the entire length of the Great Wall, and conservation of this site has become a passion.
I think it's very ugly, and I know I actually escort many people to the Great Wall. And on the way out on the bus, they tell me for often a lifetime they've wanted to visit the Great Wall of China. It's right up there with the pyramids, the Taj Mahal, Petra, the Colosseum, all of these wonderful historical sites. And you just think, they come up here, they ascend the wall, they see this beautiful view, and it's not just a wall, there are towers, yeah? And the first tower they go into has white walls, and it's covered in graffiti. And quite frankly, it reminds me of the lavatories in a railway station in Britain. You go to one of the great museums, the British Museum or the Met, and you step inside and it's just a complete letdown.
I don't dare tell him that I'm responsible for the purple monstrosity over my shoulder. The Chinese government is monitoring the project, and if it's a success, they plan to open more graffiti zones.